Hello, good evening, or good morning, or have a good day, or wherever you are listening to this. I have been away last week, taking a break from doing this live, and I was actually wondering if to go live or now to today, and I decided to do so. Keep this tradition for myself and for you. Um, and talk a little bit about what's coming up for us, especially the next weekend events. So let's talk a little bit about the moon. This is why I'm doing this, to tap into this wisdom of this beautiful satellite that the Earth has, that is so connected with all the bodies of water on the earth, especially our body, also our bodies of water, that is connected with our emotions, that is connected also with the past, with our inner kid, with maybe past lives, if we actually go into to a deeper look into the past. So the moon right now, it's in Aries. Astrologically speaking, that's where she starts her journey, Aries being the first sign of the zodiac. Nevertheless, this month she is going to be new, so having a new moon, starting a new cycle in Cancer. So this week, basically, we are in this darker phase of the moon. I've talked about it in other videos. It's when we have no visible moon in the sky. She is only present for a couple of hours in the early hours of the morning. And right now she is in Aries, starting her astrological path. Then she is going to go in Taurus. We are going to have the moon in Taurus for 2 days and a half. Then she's going to go through Gemini, starting with Thursday, Thursday the second half of the day. And then bang, the weekend comes. And why is this weekend so important? There are many astrological things and aspects happening in the weekend, but two of them are very important and very special because they are happening together and they don't always happen like they are going to happen this year. One is that we are going to have the summer solstice, meaning that the sun is going to be at its maximum point. We are going to celebrate the longest day of the year in the northern hemisphere. The southern hemisphere, it's a different story, that they are at the winter solstice. And that for me is basically celebrating and tapping into the maximum power of the masculine. Um, Hi, Jessica. Missed you too. So the way I look at things is like this. We have these 4 points, and it can be like an axis when we look at 4 points important in the year that connect us with the sun. Two of these points are the solstices, summer solstice and winter solstice, and the other points are the equinoxes, spring equinox and autumn equinox. So at the equinoxes, the light and the darkness are equal. The amount of hours in a day and in the night are equal. And at the spring equinox in March, the light starts to gain territory, meaning that the days are getting longer and longer and the nights are getting shorter and shorter. And this is going to happen if we go like this. Here we have the summer solstice. We have the maximum amount of light that we can get. And then it starts to go down until we have the autumn equinox, when the light and the darkness, the night and the day are equal again. And then if we go down on this circle, we enter in the part where the night starts to be bigger than the day. The darkness is larger than the light. and we go into the winter period until coming back to equality on the spring equinox. So the way I look at things is that half of the year from spring equinox during the summer to autumn equinox is like the masculine part, the masculine energy of Earth. And then from the autumn equinox, winter, and till to the spring equinox again, is the feminine aspect of the Earth cycle. Here, associating light with masculine and darkness with feminine. So at the summer solstice, we celebrate this peak of masculine energy, of strength, of light, of celebration, of going outwards. Uh, and then what's interesting for me to look at it today's or this period astrology is that even if the sun has this invitation to really go out and to celebrate it, we have a lot of planets that are in retrograde, so it's an invitation to actually go in or look back and recalculate and revise and learn from the past. And also, globally speaking, we are still trying to figure it out how to get out after the whole quarantine and the pandemic situation, and some countries are still in their lockdowns. So it's a paradox of being invited to celebrate, but actually being invited also in the same time to stay put. So for me, it's finding different ways of having this celebration, of connecting with the natural rhythms, the natural spirals, and understanding how is it that we can make the best out of it. This is one point that is going to happen in the weekend. The second point that is going to happen this weekend is the new moon that is going to come with a solar eclipse. So I talk a little bit about eclipses in my last video. And this eclipse that is coming, it's a special one because it's happening in the same time with the equinox. It's a difference of just some hours. From Saturday to Sunday night, the sun is going to have its peak and is going to go into Cancer. That's when we celebrate the summer solstice, when the sun goes into Cancer. And some hours after, so only a few hours, the moon goes into Cancer, and they are going to meet at 0 degrees in Cancer, which is a very critical degree. Last degrees of a sign and first degrees of the other sign are called critical degree, because even if astrology is trying to be a fixed science and say, yeah, every house has 30 degrees and that's how we calculate the whole wheel, we all understand that there is usually a transition happening in between signs. There's not so black and white. It's like from here, Gemini ends and Cancer begins. No, it's those last degrees and first degrees that are making the transition in between from one sign to the other. So we are going to have this eclipse at these very critical degrees of 0 degrees in Cancer, and is going to be the last eclipse, solar eclipse in Cancer. So the last new moon with eclipse in Cancer for 18 years, more or less, because it takes a long time for the lunar axis to go one complete round around the zodiac. And after this eclipses, we are going to move to definitely for the next 1 year and a half into Sagittarius and Gemini, which is a different conversation. So my invitation for you for this weekend is to try to make it meaningful in whatever meaningful means for you. If you feel the need of being in the nature, that would be amazing to get infused with nature, with pure energy. And it's the nature that is the best teacher in showing us the cycles. If we can be in nature right now, we see how this celebration of the maximum point of light in the year, it is manifested with all the flowers that are in the fields, with all the green, with the heat that is starting to pick up, with all these very late evenings that seem to last forever. Like the sun, it's setting, and it takes a long time to set. And it's beautiful to be in a natural place to be able to observe that. Also, my invitation is if you can do a meditation or do any kind of ritual, something that is meaningful for you, something that invites you to be in a place of observation, of self compassion, of hosting space for yourself as you are in this moment of your life, with no need of improving something or becoming better or being somebody or someone else, just holding space for your complete presence, for who you are right now. I think that that can be a beautiful way of celebrating this point of maximum light, knowing that light exists only because shadow exists. So even if we are celebrating the maximum capacity of sun, right, of the day right now, uh, never to forget that darkness is just there, hand in hand, side by side. It's all part of this paradoxical way that the world is built. And as we have a lot of planets retrograde, I think for me the invitation is really clear to actually bring our shadow to the light. Take it from the subconscious mind, from our darkest places, and bring it to light to realize it that it's not as big and scary as we usually think, and that we actually become whole when we integrate all aspects of our being. So, with this being said, today I I don't feel like doing any guided meditation. I have been processing a lot of exhaustion for myself and being tired. I have reflected, and I'm still reflecting on these 3 months that have passed. Um, and they have been intense, very intense for me. They got me to a level of exhaustion that I've never been before. Uh, so I don't feel like doing a meditation right now. That will not give me energy. It will take energy away from me. You can always go to different videos of mine that if you want to do a meditation, I always write in the description below with which minutes the meditation starts if you want to do just that. Uh, but I have my cards. I do have my cards, and I do want to draw and make a reading for this week, um, because I think it's an important week. It's this week right before this very important astrological events. It's a week in which is the dark side of the moon, right? So it's looking at our shadow, it's resting, it's laying low. Um, it is a week to reflect if there are any changes that we want to make, any new behaviors, any actions that we want to take. um, Next week it's going to be a good week to actually start with this changes, with these new habits, with these new actions, with maybe a new way of living your life if you want to make it a little bit bigger, and take it to a next level. So use this week to reflect what can be something that you can start next Monday. on 22nd of June, in the middle of this very important, intense, and meaningful year that we are all living as humanity, as individuals. And the card just jumped, so I'm just going to take it as a reading for this week. And I'm going to draw from the Dharma cards, and I'm going to show it to you. I don't know if you can hear my dog, she's barking outside. It's time to go for a walk and take advantage of these very long evenings. Let's see what the Master Buddha has to tell us for this week of moon darkness and preparation for the great celebration of solstice. Okay. So from the Divine Feminine, the goddess that is talking to us is Isis. She is the goddess of magic, and she talks about sexual energy. She says, sexual energy is sacred, and my pleasure is a prayer that brings me back to life. Her pair, Osiris, in her myth, was killed, and she was able to revive him using sexual energy, taking all the pieces of his body, putting it back, and then making love with him and bringing him back to life. So she's a very powerful Egyptian goddess that is reminding us about the sexual energy that is, for me, the life energy. It's the creation energy that I think needs a revival in humanity. The way we look at it, the way we use it, the way we interact with this energy. And the card that got out from the Dharma cards is card number 9. It's Serenity. And it says like this: a farmer brings water to his garden. An arrowsmith makes arrows. Carpenters build with wood. The wise watch their mind. Just as mountains withstand the wind, so awareness is unaffected by praise or blame. The wise embody the interior serenity of a deep, still lake. It's an interesting reading for me, as one invites us to observe with serenity. I think it's a beautiful way of looking at the awareness that the masculine energy can bring. And one of us invites us to magic, to sexual energy, to pleasure, which is a very feminine approach to enlightenment. So may we be able to watch with serenity everything that is happening inside, including our sexual energy and our pleasure and the way we do some magic. Okay, this is what I have for today. Let me know if anybody there in the chat wants a reading for this. You're welcome. I'm so happy and so glad that it makes sense. Anybody wants a personal reading from any of the decks? Okay. Then I wish you, okay, you like, okay. I can understand sometimes that the internet has a delay from what I'm speaking and what reaches to you and the answer getting back. So, Jessica, this is for you, my dear. Let's see what the Buddha wisdom cards have for you. What do you need to remember for this week before getting into this powerful weekend that lies ahead of us? Not this one, not this one, this one. The card 25, it has a beautiful Buddha image. And it's saying, finding the source. You practice and you become aware. You listen, and what you speak, you also live. Longing has filled you, and you travel upstream. And when you arrive, the world is happier. And when you finally disappear, your friends rejoice. I love this message. For me, finding the source, right, is being able to go to ourselves, go inside of ourselves and find the source of our own being. And I love how the last part of the card somehow combines life and death, right? That when you arrive there, the world is happier, and when you finally disappear, your friends rejoice. It's beautiful to be able to live this world with such a light, celebrated way of being. You're welcome, my dear. Have a wonderful week. Have a wonderful week, everyone. Enjoy the weekend. Make it meaningful for you, the way that meaningful works for you. And we'll see each other next Monday to see how did we survive, how did we pass, how did we thrive the weekend, the solstice celebration, and how do we take it further from there. Take care.